Hey everyone, I'm Arsh and I work as a DevX engineer at Okteto. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through the admin dashboard. The admin dashboard provides consolidated information about all the developers on your team who are using Okteto and details about the development cluster. It allows you to configure certain things such as the garbage collector, resource auto scaling, and all of that stuff which we will get into soon. So before we even start looking at the features, I want to talk about why the admin dashboard is important. When you provide your team with a development platform, it becomes very important for you as platform engineers to be able to see all the metrics related to that platform, be it how many resources are being consumed, how many namespaces developers are running, and all of these things. These details provide you insight into how the platform is being used by the team and allow you to configure settings for everyone on a cluster level. If you're an admin of the Okteto cluster your team is using for development, we provide all of this information in the admin section on the dashboard. So let's head over there and see what all we have. The first tab in the admin panel is the general tab where you get information about your cluster. Here you can see what Okteto plan you're on, what Helm chart you have installed, and other such things. You can see what CLI version will be running inside the pipeline installer jobs and what Kubernetes version you are on. Other than that, you can also see the number of developers who are using this and the number of nodes you have set up for this cluster, namespaces, and the number of preview environments which are running. If you scroll down, there are 4 additional settings you can configure. One is configuring access to Git repos through SSH. The second is Okteto Insights, which is a recently launched feature which gives you Prometheus data about your Okteto usage. So you can get this token and add it to your Prometheus instance and start monitoring it. The third is the autoscaler, which allows you to scale the nodes if more developers are running more dev environments on your cluster and you need more compute. The last option is garbage collector. It tells you that if it's enabled, and it allows you to configure it. And what the garbage collector basically does is it scales down your resources when they are not being used in a namespace, and it eventually deletes them. We have a separate video on garbage collector, so go check that out if you're interested in learning more. The second tab we have gives you information about the developers who are using your Okteto instead. So whenever you configure access to Okteto for a developer, be it via GitHub or any other authentication method you use, their name would start appearing in this list. Not only that, but it also allows you to remove developers from the team who no longer need access to this, and it also allows you to promote them from a user to an admin. So anyone who gets promoted to an admin will be able to access this admin dashboard and configure settings here. In an ideal scenario, you would want to invite a few members of the platform team so that they can test out things and give them admin access while all developers remain at a user level. The third tab gives us metrics about the nodes which are part of this cluster. So it will tell you how many pods are running on each node, the volumes, the memory, and the CPU usage. This is good to know so that you can monitor if you need to add more nodes or just how in general your dev workloads are looking like. What we saw in the first tab in general was the autoscaler, which scales up or down based on your needs, but you still have to define a minimum number of nodes. So with this cluster, that's currently 4 nodes, but we can see that we might scale it down to 2 if needed. The fourth tab you have is namespaces, where you get details of all the namespaces being run by a developer. If a developer is running more than 1 namespaces, you can see them here as well, and you can get access to those namespaces and see what is being deployed. When you do that, you'll see a notification that you're viewing this namespace as an admin, and that will tell you that it's not your own namespace which you're viewing. So if we go back, you can see that what namespaces are sleeping and which one of them are active. This is very useful in scenarios where, let's say, some developer is on PTO and you did not configure a garbage collector, or your garbage collector would take some time to kick in, but you know that developer is on PTO. You can manually come and put their namespace to sleep. What this would mean is it would scale down all the resources to 0 and free up resources on your dev cluster. Similarly, if a namespace is sleeping and you want to activate it, maybe to test it out, or you want to share that namespace, you can wake the namespace up, and you can also keep the namespace awake for all the time. So as long as this box is checked, this namespace will not be put to sleep by the garbage collector. Under the previews tab, you can see what preview environments are being run on this cluster. The owner field will tell you what person created that pull request, and then their Okteto account was used to power this pull request. And you can also see if a pull request is sleeping, active, and just like in the namespace section, you can wake it up or you can put it to sleep here. If you click on any one of these links, you will be taken to the preview environment deployment deployment, and you will see all the endpoints and everything you would see in a standard deployment. The next section is one of the most useful sections, and that is the secret section. In this tab, you can configure secrets on a cluster level for everyone who is using this cluster. So let's say you want all your developers to be able to have access to create S3 buckets as part of their dev environments. So you could simply create an IAM user in AWS, which is only limited to creating S3 buckets, and you can add that IAM user's credentials on this. So this way, your credentials would be configured on a cluster level and will only be using one account to create these buckets for development. And this is how you can separate concerns and provide easy access to dev resources for developers without configuring AWS accounts or other cloud provider accounts for them. Similarly, this can be done for anything, could be GCP, LaunchDarkly like you see here, or MongoDB. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to configure secrets on a cluster level, and then every developer can access these secrets in their dev environment or as part of scripts they run to deploy their dev environment. If you want to see an example of how this can be done with the help of external resources, we have a video there, so I would recommend you check that out. The second last category we have is catalog, and this is where you can configure entries for the catalog. So when you launch a dev environment, you see the Okteto catalog, which allows you to simply click an application and then everything with the pre-configured values gets deployed for the developer. So as an admin, when you want to configure catalog entries, this is where you can go and configure them. Again, we have a separate video covering how to do this, what options are available. So I would recommend you check that out if you want to learn more about this feature. The last tab we have is the registries tab, and this allows you to configure private container registries. That means if you want to power your dev environment with images which are not on the Okteto registry or which are not on a public repository, you can configure those credentials here. This is one of our recently launched features, and we have a video on how to configure this using JFrog's Artifactory. Similarly, it can be applied to any private registry you might be using. If you're interested, you'll find the link for that video below, so check it out if you want to learn more. I hope you found this video useful. The intention was helping you administer your dev platform better with the help of the admin dashboard which Okteto provides. It is really important for platform engineers to have governance over the platform they provide for developers, and the admin dashboard solves this very problem. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, subscribe to our channel for more such videos. We also have a Okteto features playlist where you'll find in-detail videos about all the features Okteto has to offer. So check that out if you want to learn more. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great day.